paralyzed daughter of a millionaire never walked then revealed an incredible hidden secret. Thomas Mitchell had it all, the corner office, the sprawling house in a suburban paradise, and an enviable wealth that made him a titan among men. But behind the polished suits and the glittering facade was a secret that even he couldn't ignore. His daughter, Emily, paralyzed since childhood, had a heart full of dreams, and yet felt more like an anchor than a beloved daughter. Emily's world was nothing like her father's. The community park, filled with laughter and joy, became her sanctuary. She relished the sunny afternoons when neighborhood children gathered around her, their wild imagination spinning tales of adventure that twinkled in their wide eyes. Each story felt like a breath of fresh air, lifting her spirits, even as her body betrayed her. Yet, in the soft whispers of the trees and rustling grass, an unshakable thought consumed her: was she just a burden, clinging to her father's successes like a shadow, invisible in the light of his ambitions? Thomas bubbled over with excitement, caught up in the whirlwind of an upcoming business deal that promised to elevate his status even further. The countless hours he spent away from home felt justified in his pursuit of success, but little did he know his absent presence created a chasm of misunderstanding with Emily. It was as if they were standing on opposite shores, each wave crashing against the rocks of unfulfilled expectations and silent desperation. One evening, the fragile facade broke under the strain. "Dad, look!" Emily yelled, her voice filled with a mix of frustration and vulnerability. They stood in the living room, a gallery of empty successes surrounding them. "You think your money matters, but it's never enough for me." Tears streamed down her face as she unveiled the artwork tucked away in the corners of her heart. Each canvas told stories of resilience, struggles, and hope drawn from their community. The moment hung heavy in the air. Thomas gazed at the pieces, and what he saw was not just paint and color but the raw spirit of his daughter. These were her dreams, the words she wished she could speak, bursting forth in strokes of emotion. They had a life of their own, vibrant with the hues of everything she felt but never expressed. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Emily took a deep breath. "I want to show my work to everyone, Dad. I'm hosting a gallery show." Her voice trembled but held a fierce resolve. This wasn't just about art, it was about declaring, "I am here. I exist." Thomas felt the gravity of her words. Would he prioritize his business aspirations over this fragile moment? The gallery show loomed closer, and he felt both dread and a flicker of hope. Would he step through that door on the day of her opening, ready to support her? As the date approached, tension crackled in the air between them. Emily had poured her soul into this show, her plea for connection. Would he recognize the true depths of her existence? The answer hovered like an unspent bullet, ready to explode into their tangled lives. The morning of the gallery show arrived, and the air buzzed with unspoken emotions. Emily's heart raced as she sat in the ornate wheelchair, staring at the walls of their home, now decked with her artwork. They were vivid reflections of joy, struggle, and yearning, but they felt like claws digging into her nervousness. Would the world see what she had poured onto those canvases? Dressed in simple, yet elegant attire, Emily wore a deep blue blouse that matched the hues in her art. She had chosen it carefully, wanting to feel powerful, yet vulnerable, a blend of who she was and who she wished to be. Thomas had promised he would come, yet as the minutes ticked by, doubt gnawed at her. What if he didn't show? What if the man climbing the corporate ladder didn't have time for his daughter's dreams? Around her, the house buzzed with activity. Their family friend, Clara, was making final touches, arranging the pieces and ensuring everything was perfect. Clara had always been a steady presence, someone who understood Emily's heart better than most. "You've got this, Em," she said gently, squeezing Emily's hand. "These paintings. They're you. They'll speak for you." Will he see it? Emily whispered, her voice barely a tremor in the air. Will he see me? With a reassuring smile, Clara said, "Yes, your dad. He may be lost sometimes, but he loves you. He'll come around." As guests began to arrive, Emily steeled herself. Friends, artists, and familiar faces filled the gallery. Each one elicited a swirl of emotions within her, stoking a fire of both fear and excitement. Her heart thudded louder, each beat echoing through the large space, and then there he was. Thomas walked through the doorway, his sharp suit contrasting with the vibrant colors around him. The moment their eyes met, time seemed to freeze. Emily felt exposed, like each stroke of paint was now laid bare, revealing her innermost thoughts. He approached slowly, taking in the atmosphere. It was different from the sterile world of boardrooms and business pitches, a realm where feelings intertwined with colors. "Emily." His voice cracked as he stepped closer to the nearest canvas. "Dad, I want you to see all of it." Her breath trembled with hope. Thomas's gaze moved from painting to painting. Shadows danced across his face as realization set in. "This is incredible," he finally managed, his voice barely above a whisper. The weight of the moment hung heavily. He was starting to see beyond the labels of his life, yet, as he turned to face her, questions loomed in the air. Would he grasp the depth of her struggles, the thousand words she couldn't say? "Can you see me now, Dad? I'm not just the paralyzed girl in a wheelchair." Emily's voice cracked, the walls of her guarded heart creaking open. "I." His response was swallowed by the crowd's chatter, but he remained rooted, searching for the words that could bridge the gap between them. An older couple overheard their conversation, whispering about the poignant beauty radiating from Emily's work. Their musings faded into the background sound, but the emotional clamor in Emily's chest rose, pulling her toward a proclamation. "Dad, I want to do more than this. I want to teach art, to share with others who feel invisible, like I do sometimes." Her heart raced as she waited for his response, her pulse quickening with every second. "I need your support." But would he understand that this was about far more than just art? As she searched his eyes for answers, one thought stood out in her mind: what if this was the pivotal moment they both needed? Would he step into her world, or would the walls of their silence remain unbroken? One deep breath, and Emily's hope hung in the balance, waiting for his reply. The silence between them stretched, thick with unspoken thoughts. Emily could feel her heart hammering against her chest, a cacophony of hope and fear. Would her father understand the depth behind her intentions, or would he retreat into the comfort of his familiar world? Thomas shifted slightly, glancing around the gallery as if searching for something outside himself to anchor his thoughts. Moments passed like hours. Emily's stomach twisted into knots. She had laid it all bare, yet communication felt as elusive as the light dancing around the room. And just as doubt threatened to overshadow her courage, he took a step closer, a soft intensity in his gaze. "You have such talent, Em. It's amazing to see how you've transformed everything." His voice was still shaky, but there was an unmistakable warmth emerging. "But teaching? That's a big commitment." Emily bit her lip, frustration bubbling under the surface. "Why is it a big deal? I feel like I've spent so much time waiting for someone else to validate my worth. I need you to see that I'm capable of more than you think." His brow furrowed, and for the first time, Emily noticed the vulnerability in his expression. "I guess I just don't want you to face rejection. I've seen it crush people and I wouldn't want that for you." She was surprised at his admission. Here was a man who had spent years building barriers around his emotions, and now he was revealing pieces of his own insecurities. A tide of understanding washed over her. "Dad, I've faced rejection every day. Every day when people see the chair instead of me. But creating art, teaching it, that comes from my heart. It's what makes me feel alive." His gaze softened as he absorbed her words. She could see his mind racing, the conflict grappling for balance. The hum of the crowd faded into a distant murmur, creating a bubble just for them. What if I helped you put together a small workshop? He finally suggested, hope threading through his hesitance. Emily's heart soared at the suggestion, but she also sensed a lingering hesitation. You'd really do that? I'd want to see you thrive. And maybe, just maybe, I could learn something too. His smile broke the tension like sunlight peeking through clouds. Do you really think someone like you could learn from someone like me? Emily almost laughed, the irony tickling her thoughts. Thomas raised an eyebrow, a teasing yet serious glint in his eye. Arts and business aren't so different. Both require vision and heart. Besides, I could use all the learning I can get. Their laughter hung in the air like a gentle promise, wrapping around the difficult truths, building a bridge between past and future, yet, even amidst shared smiles, shadows lingered. Emily still sensed a part of him distancing himself from her. But Dad, it's more than just a workshop for me. I want to help others who feel invisible, to create a community around acceptance and expression. I see that, he said thoughtfully, the curving echo of his previous reservations still lurking. But what if you put yourself out there and it doesn't go the way you hope? Then I'll pick myself up and paint again, she declared firmly. Every brushstroke will be a lesson learned. The determination in her voice struck a chord in Thomas. The tension in his body seemed to ease as he considered her words. Perhaps this show was more than just an exhibition, it was a moment of clarity for both of them. But, what happens if you don't get the reactions you're hoping for? What will that mean for you? His question hung heavy in the air, a line drawn in the sand. Emily looked deeply into her father's eyes, assessing the blend of doubt and concern lingering there. It will mean I'm not done yet. Just like you're not done figuring me out. As he absorbed her response, the atmosphere shifted. She knew this moment was pivotal, they were standing at a threshold. Could they break the patterns of their past? All at once, the night felt electric, charged with potential and change. Emily held her breath, yearning for her father to take that fateful step into her world, but as the gallery continued to buzz with excitement, the inevitable question began to churn within her: was she truly ready to embrace the next step, even if it meant exposing herself to further vulnerability? And right then, she wondered, if she took that leap, would Thomas take her hand and join her on the journey, or would he retreat back to the safety of the past? The gallery buzzed with an electric energy, the laughter and chatter wrapping around Emily and Thomas like a warm embrace. Yet, right in that moment, the vibrant world felt far away. Time seemed suspended as the weight of their conversation hung in the air, thick as fog. Emily watched her father's face closely, searching for signs of hope, a flicker of something that said he was ready to step into the open space she'd created for them. She noticed a few art enthusiasts drifting nearby, their words peppered with admiration and curiosity about the pieces on display. But for Emily, the colors and textures blurred into the background. It was the man before her, her father, whose heart, whose understanding, she desperately wanted to reach. Dad, I know it's hard to envision what I'm proposing. But I see the power of art. It can heal, connect, and transform lives. I want to inspire others to feel seen, just as I've begun to feel. He took a breath, the movement of his chest rising and falling like the tide. You have such passion, Em. But you have to understand, I'm your father. I want to protect you. What if the workshop takes a turn that shatters that vision? Emily felt a familiar swirl of frustration and compassion. But that's just it. What if it doesn't? What if it sparks something beautiful? Isn't that worth the risk? The hesitance in his expression faltered, and she could see the gears turning in his mind. The idea of a workshop, of her leading it. It was a leap into the unknown that he wasn't sure they were ready for. This is about more than me, Dad. It's about creating a space for everyone who feels as though they're forced to the edges. You say you're afraid of rejection, but what if the real rejection is hiding away from the chance to grow? He stared at her, his eyes like searching lanterns in the dimly lit room. There was a gravity to the way he regarded her, as if he was brave enough to consider the depths of her words. All right. The word came out shaky, like an unsteady bridge formed between them. Let us try this. A workshop to start, together. The air rushed out of Emily's lungs, a blend of surprise and joy washing over her. Really? Yeah, really. He managed a smile, albeit tentative. But we'll need to lay some ground rules. I want you to be safe in this journey. A giggle broke past her lips. Oh, Dad, I get it. But safety doesn't mean avoiding the big feelings or the hard truths. I know. The weight of their conversation began to shift. A sense of understanding felt like rays of sunshine breaking through clouds. I just want to make sure you don't end up feeling lost. I want to help you navigate. As they stood on the precipice of this new venture, her father felt less like a distant figure and more like a partner on a shared journey. It was strange and beautiful all at once. But just as hope began to blossom, another thought made itself known. What if his willingness to help was rooted in his desire to keep her safe, making her art a secondary concern? Would the real lesson she sought be lost amidst the protective walls he'd always built up around her? Before she could voice her thoughts, the voice of a fellow artist broke through their bubble. Emily. You have to see this piece, it's incredible. She turned toward the excited woman, a momentary distraction pulling at her focus. Emily smiled, but her heart ached with the understanding that now, more than ever, she had to push through the layers of expectation between her father and herself. As they both shifted back into the gallery's vibrant current, questions lingered. Could they truly venture into this journey together, or would old patterns creep back, threatening their hard-won progress? And as the crowd pulsed around them, Emily couldn't shake an unsettling thought: what if the workshop that felt so promising would alter their bond forever? Emily's heart raced as she stepped away from her father, the lively atmosphere of the gallery surrounding her like a kaleidoscope of colors and emotions. She could still feel the warmth of their conversation, that fragile pact to embark on this workshop together, but a faint anxiety twitched at the edges of her excitement. The notion of pulling back the layers of their relationship felt exhilarating, yet terrifying. Did you see that painting? The one with the swirling colors? Emily turned, her voice barely carrying above the chatter. It's like the artist poured their soul onto the canvas. Her father nodded absently, still lost in thought. The way his brow furrowed did not escape her notice. She sensed that while they had made progress, the fragile agreement they had reached came with unspoken reservations. Another artist approached them, Rosa, a vibrant soul with an affinity for bold colors and daring concepts. Emily. Have you thought about how to advertise the workshop? I mean, it could be a game changer. Art was Rosa's lifeblood, and crazy ideas spilled from her like an exciting melody. This was the spark Emily needed, but she could feel her father's probing gaze. I've been brainstorming, she replied, forcing a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. The community needs this, Em. You need to make some noise. Get people excited. Rosa added, her enthusiasm infectious, but the buzz of the crowd mixed with Jeremy's uncertainty slowly clouded Emily's resolve. Rosa, Emily started, but her father interrupted, his voice a low murmur. Em, have you thought about how this will affect your reputation? What if it doesn't resonate with people? His concern felt like a balloon slowly deflating the joy she had begun to cultivate. She knew he meant well, but every question pulled at the very fabric of her ambition. But what if it does? She whispered, more to herself than to him. Rosa, sensing the tension in the air, stepped back, her excitement fading. Hey, I'll let you two talk. Just remember, I think this is great. She drifted away, leaving Emily standing at the crossroads of her dreams and her father's fears. Dad, it's not about reputation, it's about reaching out to those who feel invisible. Her voice trembled, fueled by a mix of passion and dread. I've felt that way for too long. This workshop isn't just a project, it's an opportunity for connection. He sighed, running a hand through his hair, his struggle palpable. I understand. It's just hard to let you take the lead when I've always been the one guiding you. There's a part of me that wants to shield you from disappointment. With a soft laugh, Emily looked into his eyes. Then let me take that risk. The journey is mine to navigate, Dad. But I can't do it if I feel like you're holding me back. The air thickened between them, laden not just with words, but with years of unvoiced dreams and expectations. Well, we need to come up with a timeline. How long before we start? He finally asked, an effort to put his protective instincts aside, if only for a moment. Soon. I'll draw up a plan this week. As they wrapped their discussion, Emily felt a flicker of hope ignite within her. Yet that flicker was tinged with anxiety. Would her father truly be able to step back and allow her to flourish, or would his protective instincts drag her down when she needed to soar? Let us celebrate this. You and me dinner tonight? Talk more about the workshop. She suggested, wanting to solidify their newfound connection. Yeah, I'd like that, he said, his smile warming the edges of her worry. But even as they agreed, the gnawing feeling remained. There was so much left to uncover between them, and the potential for either transformation or fracture loomed large. As Emily stepped further into the thrumming pulse of the gallery, she leaned on the flicker of hope she had cultivated, but it was just a flicker small, yet strong enough to light the way forward. But what if the light turned into shadows? Would they navigate the depths of their relationship, or would unspoken fears eclipse this moment of bonding? The hum of the gallery faded into the background as Emily tried to absorb the reality of the evening ahead. Dinner with her father felt both thrilling and daunting. It was one thing to agree to work together, it was another to share a meal, in the hope of mending old wounds that kept resurfacing like stubborn weeds. As she walked back through the exhibit, each painting seemed to whisper stories of dreams fulfilled and struggles endured. She paused before a canvas splashed with a riot of color, the strokes full of motion and life. It felt alive, like her ambition, yet the echoes of her father's worries clung to her thoughts. Would he truly understand? Would they dive deep into conversation, or would the words drown in anxiety-laden silences? With a deep inhale, she steeled herself for the evening. The restaurant was a cozy, dimly lit place filled with laughter and the clinking of silverware. A small table for two against the wall offered some semblance of privacy. As they settled in, Emily couldn't take her eyes off the menu. The weight of the occasion felt heavy in the air. Spending time with her dad was supposed to feel relaxed, but tonight was different. Emily. Her father's voice was steady but soft. About the workshop I've been thinking. Maybe we should create some guidelines to make sure it doesn't spiral out of control. Her heart sank. She wanted to celebrate a new beginning, and here he was, planting seeds of doubt already. Dad, I appreciate your concern. But I need to find my own way in this. Guidelines feel like limits. He leaned back in his chair, studying her face. I don't want to see you hurt. You know how the art world can be. It's brutal. She swallowed hard, boiling frustration simmering just beneath the surface. And I'm not strong enough to handle that. I've faced what felt like 1,000 of my own mountains. This is mine to conquer. An awkward silence loomed. Emily fidgeted with her napkin, resisting the urge to bolt from the table. Emily, he began, but the harshness of a nearby argument caught their attention. Two patrons were clashing, voices rising sharply, the ceiling almost trembling with the tension. It was as if the universe had thrown them a small, chaotic distraction from the heat of their own conversation. Instead of allowing the discomfort to linger, Emily felt a surge of adrenaline. See? Even here we face chaos. But look how quickly it fades as we move on. Just like what I want to do with this workshop. We'll draw in the unseen, the unheard. His features softened, and for a brief moment, she thought she saw a flicker of understanding. But then, uncertainty clouded his eyes again. What if you fail? What if people don't show up? What if you regret it? Her chest tightened. Each word was like a new weight added to her shoulders. What if I soar, Dad? What if this becomes something that brings people together? Something beautiful? He opened his mouth, but the argument next door escalated. "Shush!" one voice shouted, drowning him out. It reminded Emily of family dinners filled with unwanted tension, of unsaid words that buried deep for fear of confrontation. "Maybe we should leave," her father suggested, glancing towards the scene unfolding next door. Emily shook her head. "No. Let us stay and talk. This is our dinner. We just need to push through, like those people outside." Her father blinked, clearly unprepared for her resolve. For a moment, she thought he would object, but instead, he nodded slowly. "Okay, let us talk then." With that, the restaurant felt like a new canvas waiting for them to paint their story in vibrant colors. But as they fell into a tentative conversation, each question he posed stretched the boundary between support and doubt. Could she truly bring him along on this journey, or would it always be her burden alone? And as the evening wore on, her resolve began to waver. The restaurant thrummed with energy, but would they ever find a harmony of their own, or was the sound of unresolved tension destined to follow them? Emily's heart raced. She felt the weight of possibility pressing in on her. Would the truth of their bond emerge from beneath layers of fear, or would it ultimately remain trapped, just out of reach? The tension at the table felt like a taut string, ready to snap at any moment. Emily watched her father with a mix of hope and anxiety. Every question he posed was a step forward, but what if they were stepping towards a cliff instead of solid ground? "Do you remember the first time you showed me how to paint?" she asked, her voice slightly trembling. He blinked, caught off guard. "Of course. You were so young, so eager to learn." "I was probably more eager to impress you," she admitted, a small smile tugging at the corners of her lips. Her father chuckled softly, and for the first time that evening, the air felt less oppressive. "You had a natural talent, even then. Those bold colors you chose, they were a mess." She laughed, feeling a rush of warmth at the shared memory. "But you never told me that. You encouraged me instead." A flicker of realization crossed his face. "I wanted you to find your voice. It was your unique vision that mattered." "Exactly." Emily leaned in, her heart pounding now with enthusiasm. "That's what I want to do with this workshop. I want to give others that same space to explore, you know. To create without fear." But his smile faded. "You mean without guidance? That's a risky path. What if they lose their way?" "But Dad, isn't that part of the beauty of it? The journey? We learn more from mistakes than we do from following rules. If I'm going to make an impact, I can't do it behind barriers." He looked down, absorbing her words while tugging at his tie. Silence filled the space between them, but outside, the argument had quieted, replaced now by a strange, lively chatter across the room. "Emily," he finally said, his tone more vulnerable, "I just want to protect you. I was blinded by my own ambition when I was young. It cost me a lot." Her heart ached at the hint of pain in his voice. Now she could sense the regret coiling around his words like a snake. "Dad, we can't let fear shape our decisions. It's okay to be scared, but we have to take risks to grow." And there it was, the challenge she wanted to throw back at him. She watched him with anticipation, wondering if the flicker of recognition would blossom into full understanding. "I realized," she continued, her tone softening, "you've been carrying the weight of your past. But this doesn't have to replay itself with me. I want to create something beautiful, not just for myself but for those out there who need it." He lifted his gaze, finally locking eyes with hers. "What if you try to include those stories in your workshop? The struggles, the failures, what you overcome." A warm breeze swept through the restaurant as a server passed, momentarily distracting them. Emily absorbed her father's words and considered the idea. It felt profound, yet simple, a reflection not only of her journey but theirs. "Absolutely," she replied. "That could be the basis of it. But we can't be stuck mired in what happened. It's about taking that leap forward." For a moment, the flicker of hope ignited between them, brightening the space around their table. But just as it did, a loud crash shattered the newfound calm. A nearby table had tipped over, a clatter of dishes and surprised gasps echoing through the room. Emily's heart raced again, but this time, it wasn't from fear, it was from adrenaline. See? We're bound to face chaos, but we can choose how to respond. Let us not tip over, Dad. Let's stand strong together. He stared at her, the ambiguity of his face somewhere between fear and admiration. All right, he said slowly, let us take that leap. But promise me you'll always stay true to your vision, even when things get tough. Their eyes locked. She nodded, feeling the flicker of possibility ready to ignite a new path in her relationship with her father. Just as the conversation felt it might finally settle into something solid, the world outside shook again, rattling the restaurant walls. Emily's heart thumped. What do we do now? As they both held their breaths, she could sense that this chaotic moment would define what came next for them. Would they succumb to the noise, or could they find their own rhythm amid the chaos? The walls around them shivered, and the air was thick with uncertainty. Emily could feel a palpable change, like the moment before a storm. It wasn't just the crashing noise or the shaking floor, something deeper was unsettled. Did you feel that? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper, as if any sudden sound might break the fragile thread of connection they had just woven. Her father nodded, a shadow crossing his face. It's just a little commotion, he replied, but his voice wavered. Emily could see it in his eyes. The past was clawing its way back, reminding him of all the things they tried to put behind them. Dad, are you okay? He took a deep breath, attempting to shake off the heaviness that seemed to settle on his shoulders. I just keep thinking about the choices I made, the chances I didn't take. Then let us change that. She urged, her spirit igniting again. Let us not allow fear or past mistakes to control what's next for us. Just then, the restaurant's door swung open, letting in a frigid gust of wind and a group of excited patrons. Their laughter filled the previously tense atmosphere with a sense of possibility. They walked past, absorbed in their own world, blissfully unaware of the emotional turmoil brewing at Emily's table. Her heart raced as she watched them. These strangers were lost in joy, much like how she wanted her workshop to feel. Look at them, she said, gesturing towards the group. They don't let the chaos stop them from enjoying life. That's what we need to embrace. Her father chuckled softly, a faint flicker of that old spark returning to his eyes. You always had a way of seeing the world differently. That's what art does, Dad. It allows you to find beauty in the chaos. You taught me that. I did. He smiled, but the weight of uncertainty still hung in the air. It's just that I don't want to risk losing you. Then let us risk it together, she proposed, her voice full of conviction. We can both learn to walk through the chaos. One day, we'll look back and see it all as a part of our journey. The beauty we create will reflect our shared struggles. He paused, considering her words as if they were paint colors waiting to be mixed. Then he suddenly leaned forward, intensity flooding his gaze. What if this fear, this protectiveness, it keeps you from seeing your true potential? The question struck deep. Emily had felt that truth brewing underneath, like an unspoken agreement between them. It is keeping me from flying. But I want to let it ground me. At that moment, the restaurant began to quiet again. Conversations softened, and Emily noticed a few tables had joined them in silence, ears trained on their exchange. They were listening, like an audience waiting for a story to unfold. Another tremor rattled the room, a reminder of the chaotic world outside. It feels like change is coming, she whispered, feeling the energy in the air shift. Then let us be the change, he said softly. It was a promise, grounded in her father's genuine desire to learn from her rather than protect her. A shared look of understanding sparked between them, brighter than the restaurant lights overhead. Emily's heart soared. For the first time, she could see her father not just as a protector but as a partner in this journey of creativity and growth. But just as relief washed over her, the door flung open again, and a figure stepped in. The moment seemed to freeze. Emily's heart sank as she recognized who it was. Could this be the catalyst that shifts everything once more? Would the chaos outside spill deeper into their conversation, or could they finally weave their shared story into something beautiful? Emily's breath caught in her throat as the figure stepped forward. It was Claire, her estranged older sister, once the golden child of their family. Years ago, before everything fell apart, Claire's laughter filled rooms like sunlight. But that light had dimmed, eclipsed by her own choices. The rift between them had grown larger, stretching across years filled with misunderstandings and unspoken bitterness. "Emily," Claire said, her voice heavy with tension. She stood there, bundled up in a thick coat, the remnants of a storm following her in. "Dad! I heard you were here." Her father's face transformed in an instant, shades of shock washing over it. He sat, frozen, as if time had shackled him to the chair. Emily could feel the shaky ground beneath them shifting again, this time with heavier stakes. "Claire. I didn't expect to see you," he murmured, words barely escaping his lips. "I didn't want to come. But I had to. Things have happened." Claire's blue eyes darted nervously between the two of them, revealing her anxiety. Anxiety that matched Emily's own racing heart. "What do you mean?" Emily questioned, trying to bridge the gap that had become an ocean too wide to swim. "Are you okay?" Claire hesitated, glancing down at her phone as if the bright screen could provide the answers they all craved. Finally, she spoke, voice trembling, "I didn't just come to check on Dad. I came because I need to tell you both something important." An electric silence enveloped them, pulling the attention back into their small world. The atmosphere in the restaurant faded to a dull hum, all that mattered was that moment, the three of them, standing at the precipice of long-buried truths. Their father's expression shifted to concern, his protective instinct suddenly reawakened by the crisis in front of him. "Whatever it is, you can tell us. We're here to listen." Emily's heart pounded fiercely in her chest. Maybe this was the turning point, the chance to break free from the chains of their past. Claire took a deep breath, her fingers curling tightly around the edge of the table as if needing something solid to hold on to. "I've been diagnosed with something. Something serious." The way she said it, with a quiver in her voice, set off alarm bells in Emily's mind. "What do you mean serious?" "You didn't I tried to keep it from you guys," Claire interjected, her voice becoming more forceful, a dam ready to burst. "But it's cancer, Emily. Stage 4. And the doctors they're saying time is limited." Each word hit like a cold splash of water. Emily could hardly process them, as if they had knocked the wind right out of her. Tears welled in her eyes, blurring her sister's outline. A swarm of emotions rose inside her, fear, anger, confusion. Their father's face went pale, carving grooves of worry into his features. "Why didn't you say anything? We could have helped you." Claire shook her head, an anguished expression crossing her face. "Because I needed to figure things out first. I didn't want you to worry. I still want to be whole again. To make things right." Emily stood rooted, struggling to reconcile the sister she used to know with this broken version standing before them. I can't lose you too." The desperation in her voice felt like a plea to the universe itself. Her sister had been so much, once, they had been inseparable, laughing over the tiniest things. Now they were on opposite shores, held apart by time and regret. As silence stretched longer, it seemed their lives paused in that moment, held captive by grief interwoven with hope. Would a path forward emerge from this pain? Then Emily felt another tremor ripple through the floor, a harsh reminder from outside that change was not just inevitable, it was here, shaking their world once more. What did Claire truly mean by wanting to make things right? Was there a way to bridge their hearts before time ran out? A hidden truth yet to be revealed danced on the edge of Emily's thoughts, and she couldn't shake the feeling that what lay ahead could change everything. The air in the restaurant felt electric. Each word hung heavy, packed with years of history, layered with raw emotion. Emily's heart raced in her chest as Claire's revelation hung in the air like a storm cloud. Would this moment tear them apart or bring them together? "Claire, wait." Emily's voice came out sharper than she intended, her heart battling between fear and the instinct to protect. "You need us. You need to let us in. You've been through so much alone." Thomas reached out, his hand shaking but steady as he placed it on Claire's arm. "You're not alone in this. We're family. We'll face this together." The flicker of hope sparked within Emily, but its light was dimmed by the shadows of uncertainty. Would Claire allow them to bridge the years of distance? Would they truly unify during this crisis? Claire's eyes shimmered, reflecting the gravity of their dilemma. "I'm scared. I'm scared because I don't know how to fix everything. I didn't come here to ruin your moment, but I thought I could share this part of my life with you. I want to be whole again. Let us help you. Please." Emily urged, feeling the urgency swell within her. "Then we can also help each other heal." The atmosphere shifted, the tension dissolving slightly as hope began to weave its way back into their hearts. Claire's shoulders seemed to relax as she took a deep breath. "I messed up, Em. You and I used to be so close before everything got messy." The vulnerability in her tone sparked recognition. Emily realized they all felt distant, each caught in their struggles, pushing them further apart. "Life has thrown us curveballs, Claire. But it's not too late," Emily implored, her words wrapping around Claire like an embrace. "We can create something new just like I want to do with the workshop. It's about connection, expression, and finding light even in the darkness." Tears brimmed in Claire's eyes, but the slivers of hope in them shimmered like stars. "I want that too, but can we really go back to how things used to be?" "No, we won't go back. We'll move forward together," Emily insisted, her heart swelling with conviction. "You can be part of the workshop, share your journey. People need to know they aren't alone in their struggles either." Claire bit her lip as if weighing the prospect. What if they don't understand? They may not, but it will resonate with someone. "You are not alone in this fight. None of us are," Thomas added quietly. Suddenly, the restaurant trembled again, this time more violently. Plates rattled and murmurs filled the air. Outside, the world seemed chaotic, a stark reminder of the unpredictability of life. "Let us be that strength for each other," Emily said, her voice a steady anchor. "We're all struggling, let us break down those walls and make something beautiful from our moments of pain." Claire studied her sister, a myriad of emotions crashing through her features. I want to try, Em. I need to." And just like that, the tension in the air lightened. It was like the clouds parting to reveal an unfiltered sun. "What do you say we take this first step? Together?" Thomas suggested, the warmth in his voice a grounding force. With a tender smile, Claire nodded. "Together. Then let us start planning. We'll share our stories. We'll create this workshop and fill it with power and truth." Emily beamed, warmth flooding her chest as a new sense of purpose enveloped them. The silence that followed was tangible, but it held promise, possibilities shimmering just out of reach. As they spoke of the workshop of shared experiences and healing, Emily felt a sense of connection wrap around them, like a blanket woven with threads of resilience and hope. Time blurred as laughter sparked and fears began to dissipate amidst their newfound solidarity. With each word exchanged, Emily could feel their relationship transforming, melting the past's cold grip, and then a thought struck her: we can even have a gallery at the end to celebrate the journey, to show everyone that beauty can come from chaos. "That's brilliant!" Claire exclaimed, enthusiasm igniting in her voice. "Creating a safe space for others to express themselves will not only heal us but could also help so many others out there," Thomas added, pride radiating from him. As they mapped their vision, the fear that had loomed like a specter faded away, replaced by the anticipation of stepping into new roles as a family. Emily looked at her father and sister, their faces lit with excitement. "No matter what, we'll go through this together, open and honest. That's the only way to heal. In that moment, they forged a new bond, a uniting force stronger than any past regret, ready to face whatever chaos life might throw their way. And as laughter rang through the restaurant, a sense of belonging washed over them, a living canvas coming alive, splattered with bold strokes of vulnerability, connection, and love. Now, it's your turn. You need to subscribe now to catch more amazing transformations like this. Leave a like right now to help feed the algorithm and keep us growing. Comment how this story impacted you and your feelings about the ending. Share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second to spread the inspiration. This is the moment to show your support.